Hey Kings, welcome back to another life-changing message that's going to shift the way you move. If you've ever wanted to leave a woman thinking about you long after you've left the room without even saying a word, then listen up. This isn't about playing games, it's about mastering your energy, your presence, and your mindset as a man. It's about becoming unforgettable without needing to perform. Today, I'm breaking it down so you can walk into any room and she'll feel your presence before you even make eye contact. Let's get into it. Control the room without controlling the conversation. Now, this is about more than dominance. It's about subtle influence. It's about walking into a space and commanding attention with energy, not ego. A man who knows who he is doesn't need to be loud. He doesn't need to talk over people, flash money, or tell stories about his success. He simply shows up with clarity, calmness, and confidence. That alone makes women wonder, who is he? Women are intuitive. They pick up on energy more than logic. So when you enter a space with intention, whether it's how you walk, how you stand, or how you carry yourself, they'll feel that. You don't need to speak a word because your body's already doing the talking. Posture straight, shoulders back, eyes alert, not wandering, movements deliberate, not rushed. That's presence, and presence is power. Now let's talk about your face, because facial expressions are part of the silent game. Most men are either blank or overly expressive. The key is neutrality with depth, a calm face that hints at thought, focus, and awareness. Like you're tuned into something bigger than the moment. Like you have something going on inside that no one else can access. That sense of mystery pulls her in. She'll be trying to decode you in her mind. And that's where you want to live, in her thoughts. You also want to be observant. Don't look around nervously, but do scan the room like you're assessing something important. Like you're not just present, you're purposeful. Women respect and are drawn to men who aren't just floating through life. When she sees you taking everything in without reacting to every little thing, she knows you're not easily shaken. That's magnetism. That's silent dominancy. Here's the part most men miss: listening. Even if you're not in the conversation, be tuned in. Pay attention to tone, body language, and interaction around you. Because when it's your turn to speak or engage, you'll already know where everyone stands. It gives you leverage. And when a woman sees that you're aware without being nosy, she knows you're intentional, not passive. Big difference. And when you do speak, less is more. A man of few words, when he finally talks, commands the moment. Don't rush to fill silence. Let it breathe. Let her wonder what you're thinking. She'll fill that space with curiosity. She'll start to project her own thoughts about you, and 9 times out of 10, that's more powerful than anything you could say. Because in her mind, you're already larger than life. Your stillness speaks volume. In a world where everyone's rushing to be seen and heard, your restraint sets you apart. You show her that you're not chasing energy, you are energy. She'll notice how others respond to you. If you're respected without needing attention, admired without seeking validation, that creates a ripple effect. She'll want to know why. She'll want to understand the source of your control. And that thought lingers in her. Another powerful tactic: eye contact. But don't overdo it. Lock eyes with her once or twice. Hold for just a second longer than expected. Not aggressive, just intentional. Then look away like you're not pressed. Like you saw her, but you're not moved. That creates an impression. It says, I see you, I'm not chasing you. But if you step correct, I might consider you. That's when she starts thinking about you. Then there's the way you interact with others, especially men. When you treat others with quiet confidence and respect, she sees how you carry yourself across the board. If you're calm when others are anxious, collected when things get messy, that makes her feel safe. And safety is one of the most attractive energies to a woman. She's watching you even when she's not speaking to you. Don't underestimate your scent. Yes, your scent. A subtle masculine cologne that leaves a trace can stir emotion and memory like nothing else. It lingers after you're gone, physically and mentally. She walks past the spot you were standing and smells you. Suddenly, you're back in her head. That's psychology. That's presence. Finally, understand this. A man who has mastered himself doesn't seek to control a woman. He controls the environment through energy. When your actions, posture, voice, silence, and presence are aligned, you become unforgettable. She may not even know why she can't stop thinking about you, but that's the point. You've left the imprint without lifting a finger. That's how you control the room without controlling the conversation. Mystery is magnetic, and too many men kill it before it even has the chance to work for them. When you reveal too much too soon, your thoughts, your emotions, your plans, you remove the unknown. And the unknown is what keeps a woman curious. Curiosity is the seed of attraction. You don't need to be a closed book. You just need to be a book that takes time to read, a book with chapters that can't be skimmed, and a story that slowly unfolds with meaning. You want her wondering where you're going, what you're doing, and what you're thinking, not because you're hiding something, but because you're not broadcasting everything. A mysterious man doesn't announce his moves, he simply moves. And when a woman can't quite place your intentions, she starts investing mental energy into figuring you out. That's when you enter her thoughts. Being mysterious isn't about playing games, it's about protecting your emotional and mental space. You share with intention, not impulse. You allow her to earn access to different layers of who you are. You don't let her in just because she asked. You let her in because she showed she's worth it. That level of selectivity makes her take notice. It creates value around you, and when something is valuable, it becomes harder to forget. Don't be overly available. That doesn't mean you ghost her or act distant on purpose. It means you have a life so full, so meaningful, that your time is limited. A man who is always reachable, always replying instantly, always trying to be around her, he becomes predictable. And predictability is the death of curiosity. You want her looking at her phone, wondering why you haven't replied yet, not because you're ignoring her, but because you're busy building. Busy creating, busy being a man on a mission. And let's talk about your social media. Because in today's world, that's part of your presence too. Keep it sharp, keep it intentional. Don't post every thought, every meal, every gym session. Don't rant, don't overshare. Let your page reflect your mindset. Focused, calm, driven. Post like a man who doesn't need validation, like a man who knows he's being watched and still keeps it private. That digital silence creates mental noise in her mind. She'll think about what you're not saying. She'll wonder who you really are. The words you don't say matter just as much as the ones you do. When you're with her, pause before you speak. Respond, don't react. And when she asks questions, answer honestly, but don't over-explain. Keep some things vague but intriguing. For example, instead of saying, I work at a tech firm doing X, say, I work in tech. I solve some pretty interesting problems every day. That slight ambiguity sparks interest. Now she's imagining. Now she's invested. Your silence, when timed right, speaks volumes. Especially in moments when most men would try to impress, you remain centered. She compliments you, you smile and say thank you, but don't return it with an overload of flattery. She shares a deep story, you listen, hold space and nod, but you don't rush to share yours. That restraint shows emotional strength and it keeps her intrigued. Now, the powerful tool, not always being the first to follow up. After a date or a conversation, let her sit with the experience. Let her think about the way you made her feel without immediately reminding her of your presence. Absence builds interest when the interaction was powerful. She starts to replay your words. She starts to wonder what you're thinking. She checks her phone. That's how mystery works for you. Be unpredictable in healthy ways. Don't always do what she expects. If she thinks you're going to text good morning, don't. If she assumes you'll bring up your last date, talk about something deeper. Change the rhythm. Make her feel like she can't anticipate your next move. Not because you're inconsistent, but because you're dynamic. Women get bored of patterns. They don't think about men who are predictable. They think about men who stimulate their imagination. Mystery also shows in how you respond to emotional pressure. When she tries to pull you into drama, you don't bite. You stay cool. When she tries to get a reaction out of you, you smile and change the subject. That emotional control tells her she can't rattle you. It tells her you're not like the others. And now she wants to know why. She wants to understand you. That's where her thoughts go, straight to you. At the end of the day, mystery isn't a tactic. It's a reflection of self-mastery. When you know yourself deeply, you don't feel the need to explain everything. You don't seek to prove anything. You move with quiet confidence and the world watches. And in her mind, the man who moves like that is unforgettable. Not because he begged for her attention, but because he gave her something more powerful than attention. He gave her mystery. There's a silent art to being unforgettable, and one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal is absence. Not coldness, not indifference, but strategic, intentional absence. When done right, your absence speaks louder than your presence ever could. It lingers, it echoes, it gets into her thoughts, and it stays there. Most men try to be remembered by doing more, talking more, texting more, showing up more. But what if the real power lies in doing less with more intention? When you pull back, you create space. And space is where desire grows. Think about the last time you couldn't stop thinking about someone. Was it because they were constantly in your face? Or was it because there was something you couldn't access, couldn't quite understand, something that kept you wondering? That's the effect you want to have. Not by disappearing, but by being selective with your presence. Start with time. If you're always available, you become routine, and routine doesn't stir emotion. But when your time is limited and your presence is intentional, every moment with you becomes more meaningful. When you're not around, she remembers how she felt when you were around. That emotional memory becomes tied to your absence. That's where you want to live, in the emotional echo. You don't have to cut her off. You just need to show her that you're not easily accessed, that your time is valuable, that you have priorities and passions beyond her, that you're not orbiting her world. You have your own. That energy is rare, and it makes her take notice. You're not disappearing to manipulate her. You're stepping back because you're focused, and in that silence, she feels the difference. Your absence should never feel like punishment. It should feel like purpose. She should be able to sense that you're not gone out of frustration or anger, but out of commitment to your goals. That's what separates boys from men. A boy sulks when he doesn't get attention. A man disappears into the grind, and that grind makes him more attractive. But there's more to it than just not being around. It's about how you leave. The quality of your presence before you step away is what determines how she'll feel your absence. If you've been engaging with her in a way that's calm, confident, and emotionally rich, if you've sparked her imagination, challenged her intellect, or left her feeling safe and seen, then your absence becomes powerful. Because now she's comparing everyone else to the way you made her feel. Don't over-explain when you step back. A short, "I've got a lot on my plate this week," is enough. You don't need to justify your focus. That quiet confidence reinforces the idea that your life doesn't revolve around her, and that if she wants access to you, she has to bring something of value too. Women don't just want attention, they want attention that feels earned. Your absence makes your attention feel earned. Now, Here's something subtle but effective. Leave a trace. When you step out of her life for a few days or weeks, let something about you remain. Maybe it's a song you shared, a phrase you always say, a scent, a thought, a question you asked that made her think deeper. Exact memory of however got that imprint keeps replaying in her mind like a whisper of your presence. She walks past a place you went together and thinks of you. She hears something that reminds her of your voice. That's how your absence takes up space. Silence is another form of presence. Don't rush to break it. Most men get nervous when things go quiet. They assume they've lost her attention, so they start texting, calling, checking in. That kills the mystique. That tells her you're more invested than she is. And when she feels that shift in power, she stops chasing. But when you stay calm in the silence, when you let her reach out first, it changes the dynamic. Now she's thinking about you. Now she's wondering. When she does reach out, don't come flooding back. Respond with poise. Maintain your rhythm. If she asks what you've been up to, tell her briefly, but don't overshare. Let her know you've been focused, you've been working.